Erin Foster, congratulations on your three-time Golden Globe nominated show. Nobody Wants This. We're talking a day later. How does it feel?
I mean, it's pretty cool. I mean, it's my first time here, so um, I don't know. I was pretty like shook by it. It's not, awards isn't really something that I thought that much about beforehand because, I mean, we've all stayed up at night imagining what our speech would be in the vast future, when you're starting out in your career. You imagine that you're gonna like have all these accolades and you have all this big stuff waiting for you, and then you start your career and you realize how different it actually is in reality. You make something that you care about and people don't watch it, or you make something you think is really great and the network doesn't pick it up. And I think you get, at least for myself, I got so used to the runaround and so used to thinking something might be special, but no one else thinking it is. So you kind of protect yourself in that rhythm and just kind of stop focusing on concrete things because if you don't attain them, then all of a sudden you feel like a failure. Um, so to finally get to this place when I never knew if I would or not is really satisfying.
Yeah, for sure. What was the Nobody Wants This group chat like? Was it blowing up?
I think there's a cast group chat that I'm sadly not invited to be
Wow,
on.
rude.
I know. And they've all become best friends and it's sort of like a in front of the camera group and I really respect that and I let them have that. And Adam and I were texting yesterday. I was so excited. Sorry, something just showed up on my computer. It's actually Megan Fox just had her baby. It just showed up on my computer as a news alert.
You're staying on top of things.
I
Important.
don't know why my computer thinks that that's something I'd be interested in. Um, but no, I was texting with them yesterday and like so happy for them and they both deserve it so much. I'm so proud of the work that they've done on the show.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I have to imagine like getting recognized for the show specifically is even more meaningful because it's semi-autobiographical and you were once going to play Joanne. This has been years in the making and the show came out 2.5 months ago and was a huge hit. You were quickly renewed. So it's just been kind of a whirlwind. So like what has it been like to see it come to life and embraced even without the awards nominations?
Yeah, I mean, what people see is like the tip of the iceberg, right? There's so much stuff that happened leading up to it and to, even just writing the script of the pilot was a really big challenge for me because it was so close to my life at the time. We moved it further away from my life. But at the time, I had this sort of new life where I was getting married to someone who was this really private person. I was really happy and I was very settled, and I had always written about the chaos of my dating life. And that was always what inspired my work. And so I felt really confused as to what to write about because it didn't feel appropriate to like dissect and analyze and, criticize this new life that I was starting because I didn't want to ruin it. So I kind of wondered if I really just wasn't meant to be happy and be a writer at the same time. And so, thinking about that struggle and that challenge through COVID when I was really trying to figure out how to write a show like this, and then everybody turning us down when I finally wrote the script for the pilot, getting rejected everywhere, that kind of sent a message. And then finally landing at Netflix, which is like the biggest platform, I didn't know what that meant. I've never been in the Netflix cycle, so I didn't understand the magnitude of the machine that gets put behind your show. When I watch a TV show that I love, I typically don't know what platform it's on. You go, oh, I love that show. I don't remember where I watched it. So I didn't understand how important where you end up is until I was in the Netflix family and realized just how skilled they are at promotion and the reach that it has and how skilled they are at knowing exactly the kind of trailer to make, exactly the people to put in place, how vastly like large the teams are dedicated to each part of it. It's really amazing to watch. So anyway, there's a very long way to answer your question, which is just all the moving parts that came together for it to finally be, you know, um, accepted the way that it has been is the ultimate compliment, you know, and it is really satisfying. I really feel that, you know.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, the people who turned you down, did they give you reasons why?
Yeah, you know, it's like this is what's interesting about life in general is that I think typically the things we think are our downfall end up being an asset at some point in our lives and certainly in our careers. And so for a long time, I would write from a place that, you know, I didn't really have like high concepts in my writing. I remember a pilot of mine not getting made because they said it kind of felt like a play. It was like just people talking. And they felt like it was a little like it didn't have these big moments. I've never been really great at these big moments. So I always thought that was something that I had to work on as a writer. When it came to this show, in the end, it turned out that the show is just people talking, you know, and it turns out that's what people like about it, thank God. But the places before, they didn't see it having a big shelf life because it didn't have like a crazy high concept. I mean, yes, he's a rabbi, but at the end of the day, it's like, how long can those conflicts go on for, was their question. And I
They
think
wanted a twist or something,
yeah, they wanted a big
like a
twist.
hook. Yeah.
Exactly. I think that they would see now watching the show, A, that they made a big decision that wasn't right, big
Huge
mistake.
mistake. Big.
Yeah. But also that, you know, I think people enjoy watching true to life conflicts that are grounded and subtle and internal. It doesn't have to be big explosions or people falling down or tripping or getting drunk. And like, it doesn't have to be that kind of, it can just be real life stuff that gets in the way of a relationship.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I always say the show is not a will they won't they, but a should they could they. And one thing I love about it is that Noah and Joanne are not in their 20s because I think there's so much media of, like romance of people in their 20s. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but it's just completely different when the characters are older. And I talked to Adam last week, and he said you guys decided that they're in their late 30s. And I feel like
Hmm.
it's so helpful here because there's just like no dumb bullshit between them. Like they just start dating, and there's no like weird miscommunication or like waiting for them to like text back for like 5 episodes. But like, how important was that to you? And was there ever any pressure from Netflix to make them younger?
Never, never, ever, ever any pressure. And you know, when I sold the script to Netflix, nobody was attached to it, right? No actress, no actor was attached to it. The first person they wanted was Kristen. They never suggested some 24-year-old actress first and landed at Kristen. Kristen was who they imagined in this role day one. They never wanted to age it down at all. And I've always really appreciated that from Netflix. They never wanted to pull away from something that they thought might be unlikable or controversial. Like really like creatively let me tell the story I wanted to tell. And listen, I'm 42 years old. Like I don't think that I'm the person to tell a story right now of dating in your 20s. I mean, I did date in my 20s, but it's a shit show in a completely different way. And I think, you know, there was some article I read years ago that I always think about that's like instead of us always doing the like 30 under 30 lists, it's much more impressive to do the list of people who made it, you know, after 30, who made it after 40. It's so much harder in life to find your person when you're older, to start a business when you're older. Like the world is really set up and built for people in their 20s to thrive. And then you're sort of forgotten about at some age. And it's so much scarier dating in your 30s when you have this clock running against you. And so I love being able to tell a story like that and also not make age the hyper focus in the show. It's not like she's sitting there talking about freezing her eggs all the time, which is a reality, but I don't know if that's a story like you have to tell every time you see a woman in her 30s.
No, yeah. I was like, and for Noah, I think it helps because like him being older, he's so much more emotionally available, and that kind of throws Joanne off because she's been a messy dater.
Mhm.
And Adam also said he pushed back on the way their first kiss was shot because he thought Noah was being too bossy, telling her to put down her purse and ice cream, and he was also worried about her purse getting stolen. But
I
what
know.
did you say to convince him that this is right?
Well, you know, Adam is like a feminist at heart, and he's really protective of ever coming across like a misogynist or like an asshole or like he's not. And I was always pushing him to understand that because Noah is this incredibly sensitive, emotionally evolved, emotionally intelligent, sweet, soft person, he also has to boss her around a little bit. He needs to have that like riz, like that masculine energy to contrast with the softness of him emotionally so that he can sort of become the perfect man for a woman. And I think that when you have a really strong character like Joanne, you have a very decisive, confident, direct woman, you have to pair her with a man who can handle that energy. And so if you made him kind of nervous to kiss her, in real life, that's not sexy. In real life, Joanne would be like, okay, I'm not into it. So in real life, you need a man like Noah to be like, all right, you wanted me to kiss you? Put your shit down. I'm about to give you the best kiss of your life. That's the kind of energy that would hold her attention. And so I wanted to create a dynamic that you would believe in real life that these two people really would want to be together.
Hmm. And also like cranks up the anticipation even more because you're waiting for them to kiss and then they're actually talking about it.
Exactly. So
Mhm.
Adam and I had the exchange. He pushed back on it early on from the script. And by the way, other guys did too in the writer's room. I don't understand this. Why is he telling her to put her stuff down? And I kept saying, I promise you guys, just let me live my fantasy out. Okay? I promise you women will die when they hear him take charge in that moment. And so in my defense about the bag on the ground, and when I wrote it, it had like a ledge in my mind. It was like outside of like an ice cream shop, and there was like a ledge so she could put it there or like a table. So I guess I didn't envision it being on the ground, but I don't think anyone bumped on it.
It's okay. It's a TV show. It's fine. And
Yeah,
then her Uber came. It's fine. So
yeah. It didn't get stolen.
yeah. Well, I've heard that for the finale, you guys played around with different levels of their reunion and the kiss and whatnot. So what were the other versions and how did you land on the one you landed on?
There were versions where she got off the bus and you just reveal that he's there. And we kind of had is it 16 Candles. We watched that ending. I think it's 16 Candles, right? When she like gets out and he's like waiting in front of his car, leaning on the car. Do you remember this
Yeah,
ending?
yeah.
You might be too young for
Hmm.
that. Um, but like it's a famous 80s movie where it has this amazing reveal of him on the car. So one idea was just keep it kind of mysterious. He's there and we just don't know how they're going to figure it out. I wanted a little more. I wanted them to have a conversation. Because I didn't like this idea that that Joanne has this very clear reason why this is not going to work and I'm going to walk away. Don't follow me. Like, I don't want the dramatic romantic thing. Like, I'm calling it here for your benefit. For him to just then show up to me was like, so it negates everything we just saw, you know? Um, if he just shows up, then she has to say, like, what are you doing? Like, what does this mean? How are we supposed to make this work? And so it was just really in the dialogue that we had there at the end. It was playing with when we cut out, right? Do we just see him? Do we just see them kiss? Do we just see them have the conversation and kiss? Like how much we wanted to give the audience. So I feel really good about where we ended up. It was
Yeah,
sort of
because
like
she
middle
just says
ground.
like, so how does this work? And it's like enough, and then they kiss. Yeah,
Yeah, well, and then he says, "Well, you're right. I can't have both.
yeah,
So I'm choosing you." Like he has to make that clear, or else it's kind of him not respecting what the boundary she's put down.
yeah, sure. Well, we have to talk about the loser siblings. I love them.
Yeah.
Everyone loves Morgan and Sasha, but was it always your intention from the beginning to find a dynamic between them that everyone will love, but also find confusing?
Not like when I wrote the pilot. That wasn't really the intention. But then when I wrote the second episode and I kind of felt this energy between these two people where like she couldn't stand him and she found him so annoying. And I always liked the idea of, you meet these guys out in the world who like say crazy shit. They're really out there. And then you find out they have a wife and kids, and you're like, oh my God, like you do not feel like someone's husband.
No, no husband energy.
No husband energy, exactly. I'm like, you have no husband energy. But then he doesn't cheat on his wife. He's actually like he like actually obsessed with his wife and dies for her, but he comes across like someone you couldn't trust. I kind of like that energy. And so I think that that was the thing that is supposed to entice Morgan is like she expects him to be hitting on her. She expects him to be flirting, but he's not really. And it confuses her, and that is weirdly attractive to her. And then, having a sex dream about someone always changes how you feel. It's like, why did I think of that person that way? That's so gross. But then once it's in your head, it's like, is it gross? I don't know. So it evolved over the course of the writer's room, but we did have it going a lot further. We did have it going to them actually hooking up, making out, sleeping together. We had all these different ideas. And then as the episodes went along and we got to know the characters, because some of it, the end of the season we were writing in real time as we were shooting, and it just didn't feel right once we were watching
I
it.
don't want them to hook up. I think that would ruin the whole show's dynamic.
Yes.
And I talked to Justine last week too, and she agreed like Morgan's not a homewrecker, but a
Exactly.
chaos
And
agent. Yeah.
because we fell in love with them as a couple, Esther and Sasha, they've got their issues and but you still don't want to see them get broken up. I don't think it's the show to tell that kind of story, and it's hard for Morgan to come back from that.
Yeah, for sure. Well, season two coming up. You guys are in the writer's room. Production's about to start soon. So what can you tease?
Everybody dies. It's so sad.
Damn it. There's your
R.I.P.
twist in season two.
Yeah. No, I don't know. It's just I think that I there's going to be more of the big romantic moments that people are loving seeing and more of the real conversations. And it's really, if season one was meeting each other and falling for each other, then season two is like, what's the first year of their relationship look like? What does that look like? What are their fights like? And how are they merging their lives together? It's all that stuff that happens in the real first year of a relation, the first year of a real relationship is figuring out how your lives work together. Like, will this work? Now that we've had the big romantic reveal, can we do the day-to-day stuff? What does it look like if you're not in your dream job? What does it look like if I'm in a real adult healthy relationship? Where does this go?
Well, since it is based on your life, how much do you negotiate of how much you pull from your real life and what you don't, or just what you tweak? Like this is inspired by something that happened, and what do you want to write in?
Well, we talk in the writers' room a lot about stuff that's happened in my real relationship and if there's something that jumps out and really resonates for people and feels really specific and interesting, then we try to focus on that. If something's really important to me, like, the moment in the ick was something that was really important to me in season one because I had gotten the ick 500 times in with guys, and been like, "Oop, don't like him anymore." I had never had anyone other than my husband sort of stop me in the middle of it and be like, "This is your shit. This is not about me. I didn't do anything wrong, and I'm not going to feel bad about trying hard with your parents or wanting your friends to like me. Like, that's a good thing." So, like, get over it. I just had never had that happen. And I know that most women who've been in that situation would love for a man to be able to hold space for that and not get scared off by it, but like stand, in their truth and be like, you need to move on. And so things like that I pushed to have, and that was kind of a wake up call for me that those things resonated. So if anything feels strong like that for me, season two, everyone in the room is really wanting to like make sure it's in there.
Yeah. Well, finally, Adam and I also talked about having Chrismica in season two.
Yeah.
He doesn't think Noah would be into it though. But
Mm,
I mean, that's this what you like interfaith relationships. What are you gonna do?
I mean, I'm currently battling this with my husband. Simon is like, will not let me have even. My mom was like, can I send her like a little branch that has Hanukkah charms on? He's like, nope, it's not going to happen. I think, listen, Christmas is so amazing that I think people like Simon or Noah, they're scared of us,
Dina,
or Bina, very scared of us getting the Christmas bug because the Christmas bug is strong.
it
Christmas
is
is,
very
the
strong.
pull is intense. It's just feels amazing. So I think they don't want us to feel that because then we're going to be gone forever.
I
I
do
don't know.
like when Christmas and Hanukkah overlap, like this year. That's
This
nice.
year is going to be
Yeah,
amazing. The first night on Christmas,
yeah, it's perfect. Like
it's
that you have to
perfect.
do Chrismica then.
I know. I'm really pushing because now we have a daughter. I mean, she doesn't even know what day it is, the week it is, but next year she will. So we're gonna have to figure this out.
Okay, so Chrismica season two, maybe.
Christmica season three.
Okay, season three. I'll
Yeah.
accept that. All right.
Yeah.
Erin, it was great speaking with you. Thanks so much for your time and congratulations again.
Thank you so much. It was so nice to speak to you
Well,
too, Joyce.